You talked about Ngannou, you talked about Diaz. One of the other free agents out there right now is Luke Rockhold. I know he's somebody that you've worked with before, San Jose guy. You guys are deep in that community. Is he somebody you've talked to at all or have any interest in?
Yeah, we talked to Dave Martin, and I think Luke's going to come to the fight. We'll probably have a conversation or two, but you know, we just haven't sat down and had a real conversation yet. We've been busy with this event, so we will at some point see if there's something that could work or if it's a fit.
Yeah, and then obviously with this event, one of the fighters that's here but was supposed to be on the card and is not competing is Vadim Nemkov. Any sort of update on him or the situation with you guys keeping the UL fight? Like, what's the plan going forward with him?
Yes, we definitely want to keep the UL fight, and so when he's healthy from his injury, we'll put that fight together again.
And I guess this is your first event, obviously, in 2023. Is there any sort of new territories or I'm talking about Bellator territories, any sort of locations that we could see maybe this year that you guys haven't been to, you guys are looking to branch out into?
I think you'll see us, obviously in Dublin because we have an event coming up. You'll see us in Paris, which I think we announced already. Towards the end of the year, I think we'd be back in Europe somewhere, and we'll continue our expansion into Asia. I would love to do a fight in Korea at some point, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And when I think about expansion, we have to really start putting our movement towards Latin America, and I think that might not happen this year, but I think maybe in the beginning of 24 you'll see us in Latin America.
Yeah, obviously a lot of talent coming from there. You mentioned Asia. I think Saki Gabar did some press last night, maybe, and he was saying that you guys had already been in touch about potentially doing another cross-promotion event. Do you think that will be a New Year's thing, or do you think that we could see it before then?
I honestly don't know, because when I asked Saki Gabar, I was like, well, who are you going to fight? We fought your best guys already. It's like, I don't know, maybe we should give it a beat for a year and a half or 2 years and just do some super fights. Let's send over some guys. It doesn't have to be a 5-on-5 team, and it felt good to go 5-0 though, just to be honest. Okay, but I just don't know if that is something that makes sense. We will support him, and he's coming out here for the fight to see Fedor's final fight. So he will be here. You can ask him yourself that question.
Yeah, and you talked about the legends that are going to be in attendance on Saturday. Can you talk about that a little bit more, just elaborate? Was that something you guys kind of, when you started to get those names, did you kind of have this idea, or was it just the sheer amount of people that reached out to you?
It was really an organic process. And the first guy that reached out was Mirko Krokop, right? And said, I would like to come and give Fedor some flowers on his retirement fight. It's very like a Japanese traditional, post-fight ceremony is to give flowers. And he's still trying to make it over here, so we'll see if he gets here. But then started getting calls from different fighters that are likely legends in the sport, saying, "Hey, I want to come watch Fedor's fight." And then Randy called, and I called Mark Coleman and said, "Hey, this is a fight. Would you like to come?" And I invited him, and then talked to Chuck and Frank and Henzo and Josh Barnett, said, "I want to come." It came together in a very organic manner. So I said, you know what? That would be an amazing in-ring, ceremony and send off for the greatest heavyweight fighter of all time into retirement, is to have all these legends behind him as he puts his gloves down. So as he stands up, he can turn around and they can all congratulate him. And these are his peers. These are the people that built the sport, and these are the roots of the foundation, which MMA was built on. So I'm really, really excited about having those guys there, and they're excited to come, and Fedor's happy they're going to be there. So it's going to be a great moment for Fedor.
Yeah, and when you mentioned Josh Barnett, it kind of ticked in my brain. Obviously, he is with Bellator. Is he he's never formally retired? Is he still part of the organization?
He fought in Japan. I think he's retired from Bellator, but I think that in Japan he fought for. I can't remember I went to the show actually, but I don't remember the name of it. But it was he fought in a modified rules type show where they do wrestling and MMA, and they have like a little moat, something like that.
Yeah.
But he fought. I thought he looked good, But I think that this is going to be the end of an era with Fedor. And when I think about Barnett, I mean, really, there's 3 fights I really wish I could have seen Fedor fight, even just as a fan. And I would have loved to see him fight Randy Couture back when they're trying to put that together. I would have loved to see that fight. And then I would love to see him fight Josh Barnett. That was another fight that was supposed to happen. And I think there's one more. I would love to see him fight Anderson Silva, maybe 5 years ago. I mean, how amazing would that have been, right? Yeah. So, to me, there were some great fights that didn't happen for whatever reason. But, it just wasn't meant to be, and that's how Fedor feels.
To ask you about some of the other stuff going on, you also announced the return to Temecula in March, and notably the featherweight fight between Leah McCourt and Kat Zingano. I think people are wondering, what happened with either one of those women just fighting Chris Cyborg as the next title defense.
Yeah, to me, this is an elimination fight. Chris is still under contract, and we're talking to her about when she can come back, when she'll be ready. But listen, we love Chris Cyborg. She, to me, is amazing. She's the GOAT of the female division. And I still think she's got a lot in her gas tank. So when she's ready to come back, we look forward to making a deal and having her back into the cage with Bellator.
We've heard Kat Zingano bring up, they're like, hey, I'm trying to get extra drug testing for a potential fight with Chris. Has that been a thing that has held up any negotiations at all with that particular bout?
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, we've made it our policy. Like, if you have, like California, Andy Foster does all the testing here, right? And so we go to Mohegan's son, Mike Mazzulli, president of ABC, does all the testing. So to me, and she's been through the USADA program for how many years when she was fighting at UFC. So, it's something that we'll go by what the commission requires, and that'll be it. But at some point, we brought Kat Zingano here to fight Cyborg. Clearly, that was the message. We want you to fight Cyborg, and it just hasn't happened. But let's see what happens on the 31st against Leah McCourt. And if it works out, she has to step up and take that next challenge.
And just
Too
to
quick,
clarify, did you say that Cyborg is under contract, or you guys have to re-sign her?
She's under contract. It's like a matching period
Gotcha.
kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But we're actually going to start talking next week about her next phase of her relationship with us.
Great.
Two quick ones. Valerie Loureda, former fighter, WWE debut. Did you see it? Were you impressed?
I didn't see it. Did she win?
She did not, but she had a good highlight on social media.
Okay, great. I'll go look for it. But I didn't see it. But listen, I wish her well, man. She's a nice kid, and she has dreams to be a pro wrestling star. I wish her luck. And if she ever wants to come back, then she can come back and fight in Bellator.
Finally, this is a question on my show. We just want it for a record. If Dylan Dennis ever wants to fight anywhere else, do you get cut a check?
Listen, Dylan Dennis, like he said, we take money from his purse. We don't take money from his purse. Okay, so let's make that very clear. And I talked to his management the other day, and I keep asking, what do you guys really want to do? I mean, really, it's up to you guys. Like, we can't make you come fight, right? But we also have to have realistic expectations, and I could go into like an hour discussion about Dylan, but. Look, we're a fight company. You want to come fight? Come fight. And it's that simple to me. You already have a contract in place. Let's pick a date, pick an opponent, and let's go. Or let's move on. That's it.
Thank you.
Last one, guys. When Habib was retired, Dana White tried to come back him, to make him come back him after this, maybe 6 months or more. When Fedor is retired, will you try to come Fedor, or you okay with his retirement?
I think it's time. It's time for Fedor to hang it up. He's had a great career, and he's in a big fight. Let's enjoy the fight, let's enjoy the retirement ceremony, and let's enjoy the evening. And but I think I'll call him up and say, hey, come over. Let's maybe do some work with Bellator, or we'll do like a brand ambassadorship, something where we can stay connected. But as far as him fighting, I mean, come on, enough is enough.
One question, please. Last question. We talk on press conference about challenge with ACA League in Russia, and they call you maybe 3 years ago, your league, I mean, and you heard something about ACA. Maybe you know something about ACA.
I know the league, but I never talked to anybody over there. Maybe Mike did, but no one has talked to me about that. But there's been a lot of different companies reach out since we fought Ryzen, wanting to challenge us. If it makes sense, I'm not afraid. Let's get it on.